So I just finished watching Saturday Night Main Event, and let me just say, even though a lot happened on this show, most of the show was wildly disappointing. I'm not gonna lie to you. A lot of these matches ended very anticlimactically. I don't know what was up with the matches tonight, but the matches tonight, they weren't hitting at all, especially the endings for most of it. Like, we started off the show, we got an absolute rage bait of a match from Drew McIntyre and Cody Rhodes. Then after that, we got an undeniable squash match between Tiffany Stratton and Jade Cargill. Then we moved on to get that triple threat match, which was pretty fun in my opinion. Not an amazing match by any means, not something generational, not anything extraordinary, but it was still watchable, it was still fun in my opinion. That was good. But then the main event, I don't even know how to feel about the main event. The main event I'm indifferent about. I don't know if it was good. I don't know if it was bad. You guys are gonna have to let me know in the comments. I don't know what this main event was. It was cool. It was cool. I could say that for sure. It was cool, but I don't know if it was good. I don't know if it was bad. I don't know if I enjoyed it. A lot happened, but I don't know what happened. I was just watching this. I'm like, if the crowd wasn't this loud, I don't think this match would have been this good. I think the crowd really added to it, and it made people think it was probably better than it was. Like, the match wasn't terrible, but it was a generic Jey Uso and CM Punk match. We saw spear, super kick, Samoan drop, and spear, and super kick, and Samoan drop, and spear, and super kick, and Samoan drop, and a hip attack from Jey Uso, like he always does. And then we got to see CM Punk's moveset. He did his normal CM Punk stuff. This was like exactly what you would expect, down to a T. And then we even got into the end of the match where it just turned into an absolute finisher fest. We got like 17 spears from Jey Uso. We got like 38 million GTSs from CM Punk. And I'm like, how is Jey Uso tanking 5 GTSs one after another, still kicking out? What are we doing? Anyhow, this Saturday Night Main Event episode was definitely questionable. It was definitely questionable. But before we get into review though, let's talk about the results right away so we know what happened. So we're all on the same page. So our first match of the night, it was Cody Rhodes versus Drew McIntyre. Cody Rhodes ended up beating Drew McIntyre, and Cody Rhodes retained his undisputed championship. That was that. After that, we got our Tiffany Stratton versus Jade Cargill match. Jade Cargill absolutely squashed and beat and brutalized Tiffany Stratton, and she is our new SmackDown Women's Champion, and that was that. After that, we got our triple threat match for the Intercontinental Championship. Dirty Dominic Mysterio versus the Bulgarian Brute Rusev versus Mr. Cero Miedo Penta, and Dirty Dominic Mysterio ended up retaining his Intercontinental Championship via Frog Splash on Rusev, and that was that. And then we finally made it to our main event of the night, and the main event was Jey Uso versus CM Punk for the World Heavyweight Championship, and CM Punk ended up beating and defeating Jey Uso to get his championship back, and CM Punk is now our new World Heavyweight Champion. And that was that. That was the whole show. That was everything that happened from start to finish. And now we're just going to go on to break it down and talk about what happened in depth. But before all that though, as always, our quote of the day. Quote of the day: some mountains look impossible until you start climbing and realize half the battle was convincing your feet to move. Pack courage, a little faith, and a snack, because even warriors get hungry. Be strong and courageous. Do not be afraid. Do not be discouraged, for the Lord your God will be with you wherever you go. Joshua chapter 1 verse 9. That is your quote of the day. Now let's get right into this video. Let's get right into this breakdown. Let's get right into this review. So for Saturday Night Main Event, we started off with our first match of the night. And our first match of the night was the American Nightmare Cody Rhodes versus the Scottish Psychopath Drew McIntyre. And this was for the Undisputed Championship. And this match, the match itself was alright. It wasn't terrible. It wasn't unwatchable. It wasn't garbage. It wasn't anything too negative. This was a solid match. It wasn't good. Don't get me wrong. It wasn't good, okay? It was watchable for the most part. I found this match to be pretty decent. In-ring wise anyway, this match was pretty decent. It was pretty watchable, and I enjoyed some parts of it here and there. We saw a few nice spots from both Drew McIntyre and Cody Rhodes, so I appreciated that. And Cody Rhodes even got sent crashing through the announcer's table, which was a pretty crazy spot in my opinion. But besides that though, we got to the ending, and the ending was absolutely horrendous. The ending to this match was absolutely horrendous, okay? This match, it was decent, but the ending just absolutely sucked. And let me break it down as to why the ending was absolutely atrocious. So over the past week on SmackDown, we had this big ordeal where it was confirmed that Cody Rhodes would have stakes added to the match, and if Cody Rhodes cheats, if Cody Rhodes gets counted out, if Cody Rhodes gets disqualified, he will lose the championship. So it was basically set to where Cody Rhodes cannot cheat, he can't get counted out, he can't use any cheap tactics, he can't use any silly, goofy, nonsense shenanigans, right? That was the point, that was the stake, that was the main aspect of it. And then we get to the match, and we have Cody Rhodes cheating, using cheap shenanigans, using distractions and stuff like that. I'm like, what was the whole point of that segment on SmackDown? This should have been clean right down the middle. Whoever whoever does nonsense, they lose. If shenanigans are on Drew's part, Drew loses. If shenanigans happen on Cody Rhodes' part, Cody Rhodes loses. And that was the point of it. That was the big ordeal. That was the big conflict. And then we get to the match. We get to the end. Cody Rhodes uses his championship to win. He DDTs Drew McIntyre on the championship while the referee's knocked down to win the match. I'm like, why did we just do all this storytelling? And we get to the match. It's not even an even playing field. The main stake of it, the main aspect of it, they just threw it out right away. They signed a contract on it. They agreed. Terms and conditions, contracts were signed about this. And then we get to the match. And the first thing we see is people cheating. Drew McIntyre trying to convince Cody Rhodes to hit him with the championship. Drew McIntyre acting scared of Cody Rhodes and he's begging Cody Rhodes, just hit me so I could win. I'm like, what are we doing? You're bigger and stronger than Cody. Beat him fair and square. Act like it didn't even matter that their stakes were there, that you were going to beat him regardless. You over here begging Cody, hit me with the championship. Please disqualify yourself. I'm like, what are we doing? But anyhow, though, at the end of the match, like I said, Cody Rhodes ended up hitting a DDT on the championship on Drew McIntyre. And then he turned that into a crossroads and he hit a crossroads on Drew McIntyre for the win. And that's how Cody Rhodes retained. Anyhow, after this, we moved on to our second match of the night. And it was Tiffy time! Tiffany Stratton versus The Storm, Jade Cargill. And let me just say, this was an absolute squash match. This was insane. They had this whole big monologue, this whole big focal point of, oh, Tiffany Stratton hasn't been beaten in this past year. She's gone 15-0. She's gone 16-0. Tiffany Stratton has not lost yet this year. And she's defended the championship X amount of times and she's yet to be pinned. She's yet to be defeated. And we make it Saturday Night Main Event and Tiffany Stratton is getting tossed around like an absolute jobber, like an absolute featherweight. I'm like, what are we doing? You're telling me she was this dominant, she couldn't be pinned, she couldn't be beat. But as soon as we get to Saturday Night Main Event, her powers get neutralized. She got nerfed or something. What are we doing? We got to the match, and let me just say, Jade Cargill absolutely dominated, beat, brutalized, and tossed Tiffany Stratton around for most of this match, for mainly the whole entire match. We saw Jade Cargill definitely being more mean, more aggressive, and more dangerous. And Tiffany Stratton did try to defend herself. She did try to fight back, put up a fight, but her attempts fell flat. It was to no avail. She wasn't really able to defend herself, and that was that. So she basically got ragdolled around and just got beat and brutalized, and that was that. And then we got onto the ending, and it was just very anticlimactic. After Jade Cargill absolutely tossed Tiffany Stratton around for most of the match, the crowd was still in disbelief. They couldn't believe what they were seeing for the most part. And they're like, really? This is how this is going down? And then we just got Jade Cargill hitting one Jaded on Tiffany Stratton for the win, and that was that. She hits a Jaded and pins Tiffany Stratton. 1, 2, 3. Ding, ding, ding. The bell rings, and Jade Cargill is your new champion. And now, it's not like I dislike the result. I actually do like it. I like that we have Jade Cargill as new champion. I like that Tiffany Stratton isn't champion anymore. I have no issues with the results. None whatsoever. I'm very happy for Jade Cargill. I'm just not happy about how the match transpired, how it went down, how it progressed, how it got told. I just didn't like the in-ring story that was told. I just didn't like how things went down. I just didn't like how they transpired, per se. And then to make matters worse, at the end of the match, there was no big pop, no big shock factor, anything. Jade Cargill literally hit a Jaded, pinned her, and ding, 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 the bell rang. And just like the crowd was, I was at home as well. I was like, really? That's it? Okay, I guess. I don't know what to say. That was that. I was just like, okay. Moving on, that was that. Like, it was so anticlimactic. There was no build-up, no shock factor, no suspense or anything. I don't know how to even describe this, but like most of these matches, they just ended anticlimactically. But anyhow, though, that was your second match of the night. After this, we moved on to our third match of the night, and it was our triple threat. It was Dirty Dominic Mysterio versus Cero Miedo Penta versus the Bulgarian Brute for the IC Championship. And this was a fun little match. There's not really much to say about this match, but it wasn't a terrible match by any means. I did enjoy the match. We got to see some shenanigans, funny spots, high fly moves, and even weapons, since this was a no DQ match due to it being a triple threat match. So that was that. I enjoyed that aspect of it. We saw Dominic Mysterio using a steel chair. We saw Rusev using a steel chair. We saw the Timekeeper's hammer being used in this match. It was pretty fun. Now, while this match wasn't anything crazy or anything special, it was still decent in my opinion. Like I said, I did enjoy it for the most part. But anyhow, at the end of the match, Penta ended up accidentally hitting Rusev in the face with the Timekeeper's hammer, and then Dirty Dominic came out of nowhere, rolled Penta out of the ring, and hit a frog splash off the top rope onto Rusev for the win to retain his Intercontinental Championship. And that was that, and that was the match. And that's how everything finished. That's how it went down for this match. And there's really nothing else to say about it. This was just a fun little match, in my opinion. That was that. But anyhow, after this, we got a video package promo from John Cena, basically giving a hint who would be his final opponent and his final ever match in the WWE. So this was a pretty cool video package. I really enjoyed it. And basically, John Cena came on announcing that The final opponent to face him will be decided in a tournament that's going to be taking place over the next couple of weeks. And this tournament is going to be a 16-man tournament to decide his final opponent. And he said that we're going to see stars from Raw, we're going to see stars from SmackDown, NXT, and even people who don't work here, quote unquote. So that's pretty cool. So we're basically just going to get a huge tournament to decide who's going to face John Cena in his final ever match. And the tournament is going to be called the Last Time Is Now tournament. Uncreative in my opinion, but whatever. Anyhow, after this, we ended up getting on to our fourth and final match of the night. And our fourth and final match was main event Jey Uso, Mr. Four Letters, one word, Heat Man Jey Uso versus CM Punk for the World Heavyweight Championship. Now, was this a good match? I don't know. Y'all are going to have to tell me in the comments. Like I said, I don't know if this was a good match or not. I don't know how I feel about it. I'm still indifferent about it. Yes, I did enjoy it, but it wasn't really anything crazy, anything extravagant, anything special. I don't really know how to describe it. Like I said, it's basically everything you would expect from this match. That's how it was. That's how it went down. Like, the spots you would think of, super kick, Samoan drop, hip attack, spear, literally that's all we saw. And then we saw CM Punk's moveset as well. And the match was literally how you would expect it. So that's why I'm like, I don't know if it was that good or not. I feel like the crowd made it good. How hyped the crowd was, how loud they were, really added to the match, and that's what's making me feel like it was a lot better than it actually was. So that's why I'm like, I'm still indifferent about it. I don't know how to feel about it. But anyhow, though, let me say this right here and right now. I think we've been cheering and pushing the wrong Uso, honestly. Because now, more than ever, I'm finding Jim Uso a lot more entertaining than Jey Uso. Jim Uso is miles ahead of Jey Uso in the ring, also on the mic as well. He's way more entertaining. So I'm saying it right here, right now. I think we've been cheering and pushing the wrong Uso. But anyhow, in this match, like I said, Jey was basically just doing Jey Uso things. We saw super kicks, hip attacks, Samoan drops, terrible spears, and that was that. And Punk also was doing Punk things, like I said. But unlike Jey Uso, I did kind of enjoy CM Punk's moveset. I did enjoy the moves he was doing. I did enjoy the story he was telling in the ring. So that was that. But the match did feel very sluggish at times. There was times you could see both men absolutely out of breath, panting, just moving in slow motion. So the match did feel a little bit sluggish. But anyhow, besides that though, it was all right. It was solid. It was decent. It was bad. It was good. I don't know. But that was the match. Anyways, though, at the end of the match, it ended up turning into a finisher fest, and we saw like 15 spears from Jey Uso, 30 million GTSs from CM Punk all over the place. It was just finishers, spears, GTSs all over the place. But anyhow, though, at the very, very end, CM Punk was able to hit one final GTS on Jey Uso, and he rightfully pinned and beat Jey Uso for the World Heavyweight Championship. And CM Punk is now a 7-time world champion, and he got his championship back, and he got his moment back, and CM Punk is now officially our new World Heavyweight Champion. And that was that. That was the match, and that's how the show ended, with CM Punk celebrating and holding up the World Heavyweight Championship, basically drinking in the moment. No Seth in sight, no Vision in sight, no nothing. Fair and square, he beat and pinned Jey Uso, and that was that. And that was their whole show. And overall, I would rate Saturday Night Main Event probably a solid 5 out of 10, a generous 5 out of 10. And I'm giving it a 5 out of 10 because we had a lot of championships defended on the show, so I did enjoy that aspect, and I'll give credit where credit is due. But besides that, though, the show wasn't anything crazy, anything special, anything too mind-blowing. I did enjoy some parts of it, but not all parts of it. And the main thing that I did take away from this was that John Cena announcement. I did really like that. I'd give the tournament where John Cena's final opponent is going to be decided in a 16-man tournament. I think that's a pretty cool idea, and that was probably like my biggest takeaway from this. But besides that, though, the show itself, Saturday Night Main Event, it was all right. It was smack dab in the middle. Like I said, a solid 5 out of 10. But anyhow, though, that was your breakdown and your review of this Saturday Night Main Event. Thank you for showing up. Thank you for hearing me out, and thank you for being here. Like, comment, and subscribe if you want to. Like, comment, and subscribe if you'd like to. And like, comment, and subscribe if you choose to. As always, it's been a pleasure. I'm out.